Hello and good evening and welcome to a special program on NewsX powered by 1xBet. The 42nd match of the World Cup 2023 is being played between South Africa and Afghanistan at the Narendra Modi Stadium here. Ahmedabad. Afghanistan won the toss and decided to bat first. South Africa made two changes, resting Jansen and Shamsi and Kodze. Afghanistan struggled early, losing 2 wickets in the power play and scoring 41 runs in 10 overs. Giri took 2 wickets, dismissing Gurbaz and Zadran, 2 of the most destructive Afghan batters. Kodze claimed Alikil and Zadran's wicket. Nabi and Shah also fell to Giri. Gurbaz top scored with 25. Maharaj, Kodze and Giri each took 2 wickets each. Well, today we have 3 of the eminent panelists with us. Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, David Brooks from London and Tasneem Granger from in our studio right now. Tasneem, what's the latest update before we go on to Mr. Rajkumar Sharma for his views?
So currently, good evening to you all. Afghanistan have just lost another wicket right now. They are 204 for the loss of 8 and they have 4 more overs to go.
4 more overs to go. Who's batting, by the way?
Currently right now, Azmatullah Omazi is still at the crease. He's been having a great day out there. He's currently on 70 not out off 92 balls. Maybe he's going to try and tee off in the last 4 overs and try and be the second Afghanistan player to score 100 today. But he's just left now. Coming in to bat with him is Mujib right now.
Absolutely, Mujib. Well, we know he does he's a little decent with the bat. But let's go on to Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, internationally acclaimed coach of Virat Kohli. Mr. Sharma, there is a feeling that this is an inconsequential match, but Afghanistan is playing a match within the match because they have to not only cement their ICC Champions Trophy, register it, but also when you go on to a higher level, you get remunerated well by the ICC and also the future tours depend on this. Your views, sir. Do you think there is another battle going within the battle?
Sunil, they have already done a lot, in this World Cup, and they have nothing more to prove because they have done so well. This much was not expected out of Afghanistan, what they have done. And, they have made so many fans. They have made all, their fans very proud because they have won 3 matches, which was not at all expected of Afghanistan. And now everybody feels that they are a good team. They are a force to be reckoned now and in world cricket. So gradually with this progress, I think they are going to make it big in coming days.
It's a very interesting point you made that they've won the 3 important matches. First of all, with England, and these all 3 teams are no minnows. They're the former World Cup winning team. I have a question for you, sir. When we started the World Cup campaign, there was a lot of talks and murmur going around about this being the Asian team's final. However, when you look at the semi-finals, there's only one Asian team. Would you agree that it's got less to do with the pitch, condition and everything and more to do with skill and application of the skills?
Well, Sunil, both the things are there. You need skill as well as, you should acclimatize with the conditions and wicket also.
Right.
But fortunately for the other teams, like South Africa, Australia, if you see, a lot of their players are playing in IPL in India.
Yes.
And they're here for 45 days. They know each and every wicket now. They know all the corners of the stadium, where the gaps are. So they are very well, used to Indian conditions, and that is what has helped them. Earlier, they used to struggle with our slow wickets, spin tracks, but now they come very well prepared for all these things, and that is what is showing. That is why there is only one Asian team. And rest of Asian teams are to be blamed themselves, like a team like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. A lot was expected, that they will do well, but I think they lacked application. I'm saying application was lacking, Sunil, because they don't have any depth in, talent. Only thing was they were not much focused, and that is why they lacked that killing instinct, and they didn't play like a team, and that is why they didn't qualify for the semi-finals.
Well, absolutely. Semi-finals was all important game for the team there. But let's move on to David Brooks. David, you've been the flag bearer and the cheerleader for the underdogs out there. David, what do you think when you look back at the performance of Afghanistan? What do you think about the entire thing? What are the plus points when you go back and look at the team and reflect?
Well, I think that, hi Sunil, and hello to Raj Kumar and to Tasmin. Just to say that Afghanistan's bowling has always been rated, but their batting has been seen as rather fickle and sometimes over-emotional. You know, they can get carried away. Think back to the days of Mohammad Shazam. What Jonathan Trott has done is instill in them a calmness. As coach, he's introduced a calmness, and that has really improved their batting. The mindset has changed. And they've gone from being regarded as minnows, where runs and wickets against them really don't count, to suddenly being one of the big six on the world stage, where you have to be at the top of your game. Even today, they've been written off. I was listening to pundits saying they'd be all out for 100, 150 when they lost those 3 or 4 early wickets. But, you know, you've seen what they can do. And Azmat, who's still there now, has played beautifully. And, you know, at one stage, a score of over 200 looked beyond their reach today. But Rashid Khan played a very different type of innings to the one that we're used to. In fact, I've never seen him play a defensive shot before today. Usually comes out in the last 10 overs. But today, his role was to keep Azmat company and build a partnership to get them over 200. And he's done that. And, you know, they don't have anything to prove. I agree with Mr. Raj Kumar on that. They're a proven force now. Everything has changed now. And of course, in answer to your question at the top of the show, it must change as far as the Future Tours program is concerned. We can't have a situation where Australia refuse to play against them, home or away. I mean, that's got to come to an end. I think Rashid Khan passed that message on to David Warner personally during the last Australia versus Afghanistan match, where he had a few things to say to David Warner. I'm not surprised, and I agree with what he said.
Well, that's an interesting point you say. David, one more point. Your English press has been a little more cynical, sarcastic, a little tongue-in-cheek before the Afghanistan walked in for this World Cup. And they said that this is a 20-over team. They believe in franchise cricket. They're no good for a 50-over thing. Do you think the egg has fallen on their faces now? You're good at it?
There's not just egg on their face. They've got the whole sandwich on their face. They've got the tomato ketchup as well. I mean, they've been hoisted by their own petard. That criticism could be applied to England, shouldn't it? They've taken the 20-over franchise mentality into this tournament. Although, you know, looking at the stats that Tasnim showed us on the breakfast show, clearly David Milan and needs to be exempted from that. He's had a good tournament. Ben Stokes, he's shown what he can do with that century. But the rest of them, I mean, Joe Root, Joss Butler, Liam Livingstone, Johnny Bairstow, I'm afraid they're all heading for the chop.
Absolutely. Tasmin, what is the latest right now? We need to come back to you before we go on to Mr. Rajkumar Sharma to understand the score and how do we contain the team. Your views on this?
Yeah, definitely. So as assumed, Azmatullah Omazi is just trying to take off right now. He's now on 84 of 97. And yeah, he's definitely looking like he's chasing his 100. Their current score is they've just lost a wicket, 226 for 9 now. Having just lost the wicket of Mujibur Rahman, they've got 1.2 overs, 2.2 overs actually left to go, and they're currently sitting on 226. So I'd say maybe, depending on how long the last guy comes in and lasts, maybe around 240, in the hopes that Azmatullah Omazi gets the 16 runs he's looking for to get his 100.
Well, absolutely. Rajkumar sir, do you think this is a good enough total for a team to defend, even if it's an inconsequential match, or it's a cakewalk for South Africa?
Can't say a cakewalk, but yes, Afghanistan has made 50 runs less. Had it been somewhere around 280, then they would have really challenged South Africa with their top-class spin bowling and medium pace bowling. But I think this is it's going to be an easy match for South Africa unless and until they lose early wickets or Afghanistan are able to make inroads very early in their innings. So I think Afghanistan here is 50 runs short. They should have at least got 275 to 80 runs to challenge South African batting.
Well, 270 runs is what they were looking at. Sir, we have a larger, broader question. We've just come out of the Asia Cup. Asia Cup was good for India. But when you look at it from a fans and a critic perspective, you look at two things. The performance of the team that is on the up and the depletion of a team that has been down. And we are talking about two world champions. That includes Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Is it fair to say that Afghanistan is your second best team in Asia, looking at the performance?
Well, Sunil, it would be early to say this because you can't write off Pakistan and Sri Lanka. They are a very good team. They are all, proven teams. They have been playing so long. Afghanistan has just started. They are minnows still, but they have done really well. Everybody is happy for them. So am I. That they have done so well. But it would be very early to say that they are the second best team because they have a lot to prove still, and it is good luck to them that they have done so well. And with the time, people will start taking them seriously. They'll face problems. People will see their videos, their batting videos, bowling videos. Right now, any opposition team who comes to play against them would take them very easy. They have just qualified and they are just T20 team or something of that sort. But now everybody will take Afghanistan seriously and they will be more prepared against Afghanistan. So that is a good thing for Afghanistan that they have made a mark, here in this World Cup.
Well, you've also looked at the other minnows, the team that have, they are the new kids on the block, the Netherlands. Do you think with this international calendar, they'll get more of play time also, considering that they won't get it on the FTC calendar, but also the first class games in the men's and the women's section with the performance that they managed to put it up here?
Definitely, they have also shown a lot of character. They have also won a match, and even for qualifying for this World Cup was not a mean achievement for Netherlands because they are not known much for in cricket. They are more known for their rugby and hockey. But yes, they are coming to this field also. And whenever teams like Netherlands comes in, they are a very fit team. They are a very fighting unit. They really work hard for their game. So I think yes, if they have better domestic cricket, they will improve more. They will have more exposure touring to different countries and inviting other countries in their country to play. So in coming years, I'm very sure Netherlands and Afghanistan would be forced to reckon with.
Well, they are a force to reckon with in the future. Tasmin, do you think that the associate members' time has come, because they've been really doing well? And this is a broader question, not just for the World Cup, because we saw the excitement at the pre-World Cup qualifiers and how the teams were jostling Scotland, Ireland, so on and so forth. Your views?
Yeah, definitely. I did mention at the start on one of my first shows here that it's great to see the gap between test playing nations as well as associate member nations just getting smaller and smaller. And I accredit it to the Future Tours program as well. That's the FTP's put into place. It's something that's big, and Champions Trophy is going to even help more and more just to push that margin a lot smaller. And I believe it's a great time because, a lot of the times you just look at a team as easy points and, a game to count the win on. But unless you face up the likes of Afghanistan and Netherlands that have come here to prove they're not just here to participate and be the walkover team, they can cause a couple of upsets. We haven't had close, big, nail-biting finishes by the world's biggest teams, but it's mostly been the associate nation teams causing the drama.
Well, absolutely. The associate. One of the players from there is Bas de Leede from Netherlands, who's at number 10. Well, sir, these facts and figures, do they excite you? Because we have Madhushanka at the top when it comes to bowling as well. Does it excite you to see new names in the top 10 list of around 150 odd players, Mr. Rajkumar Sharma?
Yeah, it is always good, Sunil, when newcomers come and they push the senior ones, and that is what the game is. Every time you see new stars coming up, and that is a great motivation for others to do well. And for the senior players, yes, it is a challenge that these fellows are chasing us, and they have to be on their toes. Why Indian cricket has done so well, Sunil? Because of our system, that our India A team tours a lot. They play different countries, they play all other tournaments across the world. So they are always ready, and they are always pushing the senior players. So I think that way, if you see these names in the top 10, it gets a lot of motivation for others, and time for seniors to be on their toes.
Well, absolutely. Tasmin, one quick question. Out of the top 10 bowlers and the top 10 leading batters, who has impressed you the most? Completely new name on the block, just completely sprung up.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see. Besides it just being a new name, for me, Jasper Bumrah has been out injured. He hasn't had the greatest, easiest year. But he's sitting in there as one of those seam bowlers with one of the best economy rates as well. So I definitely put him out there for me, Even Marcus Jansen, you got this tall, lanky fellow, and he's about to become, if he had played today, possibly in the semi-finals, one of the highest wicket takers for South Africa in a single ODI World Cup edition as well. In terms of batting, I'm with you 110%. Best to lead, not to mention Rachin Ravindra. His story is phenomenal for me. He's just shown the world to say it doesn't matter where you start off, but what you do with where you feel the most comfortable in.
Well, absolutely. You feel comfortable and you do what you're best at that. David Brooks, who's your favorite? It's a little too early in the day to ask, but which is the new kid on the block that has impressed you a lot?
Well, I mean, I can't fault the three names that Tasmin's just mentioned. I mean, Ibrahim Zedran for Afghanistan, that century in the last match, and look at the way in this current game that another Afghan batter has put their hand up and taken responsibility. You see, they've batted the full overs, even though they were in trouble early on. They batted the full overs, so you have to say that some of these young Afghan players, only 23 years old, Azman, they'll be the names that we'll be looking at in these charts in the future. And yes, Afghanistan, clearly second place Asian team in this tournament because Pakistan peaked too late. They only peaked after they took Enzaman out of the selector's chair. And Sri Lanka, well, I mean, what can one say about them? Bangladesh have also disappointed. And I noticed that Alan Donald, the bowling coach who spoke out against his own captain, has his contract's been terminated by mutual agreement. He should think twice before criticising his own captain over the Angelo Matthews dismissal. So, and as for Netherlands, I mean, they're more known, Raj, for their football than their rugby and cricket. Of course, Ajax, one of the big teams from the Netherlands, they invented something called total football. And maybe Afghanistan are on their way to creating total cricket. And it's going to have a huge impact on every other associate nation. But we'll look at what Afghanistan have done. They'll look at the journey that they've been on, having not even played any cricket 10 years ago. And suddenly you've got this young generation who've latched onto it. The profile of the cricket fan and the cricket player in Afghanistan is very young, because they discovered it as refugees in Pakistan. So if they can do it, and they're now one of the top 6 teams in a 50-over format, then all the better. But that means they've got to move. Associate nations have got to be given the opportunity to play 50 over as well as 20 over. And that's why, Sunil, in the MCC meeting, which I'm on my way to this afternoon, I should be making that point and asking for clarification about the president of the MCC's remarks attacking the 50 over game, saying we don't need bilateral 50 overs. You've got to give the associate nations.
Pardon me for asking you. Let me interject you and ask you, are you talking about the international repercussion to the MCC's comment made by Mark Nicholas earlier this week, saying to banish ODI in the World Cup or keep it only in the World Cup and banish it from the bilateral series?
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Sunil. Those comments made by the MCC new president, Mark Nicholas. That presidency is an honour bestowed to people just for 1 year. People serve a 1-year term. And Mark Nicholas chose to make the new president chose to make as his first announcement that he wants to see the end of bilateral 50-over matches, except during World Cup years. I mean, he is pulling the ladder away from associate nations with that suggestion. He really needs to go back to the drawing board. I'd love to see him retract that statement. And I'm going to be asking through the chair in this afternoon's MCC meeting for that to happen, because there's that MCC should be on the side of the associate nations.
Well,
they're there to spread the spirit.
Absolutely. One quick last word from Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, and then we'll end this show. Mr. Sharma, would you kind of endorse something like this, that the ODIs should not be a bilateral thing, but only thing of the World Cup? Do you think it's the demise of ODIs like this? And coming from MCC?
No, I don't think it is right. It is. People have taken up T20, but 50 overs cricket has got its own charm. The way a batsman builds his inning, the way a bowler, set up a batsman to get him out. Unlike T20, where a bowler is just wanting to bowl a dot ball, trying to push the ball to batsman pads, or just bowling negative lines. So I think MCC should not be so harsh on one-dayers, and ICC should let it continue in bilateral series as well.
Well, we have two experts endorsing the ODI one-days and talking about the growth of one-days through ODI. Tasneem, before we end the show, what is your latest update on the score? Who's got how many wickets, and what's been the upside of this? So
Azmatullah Omazi just missing out on his 50. He did face 3 dot balls in the last over. He finishes off on 97 not out, just missing his 100 correction. They did, however, finish on 244 in 49.6 overs, in 50 overs, and it is done. Looking like actually the last guy in with him just actually came out. That's a wicket for Rabada. Azmatullah actually out on, no, Naveen Al-Haq, correction, out. He looks like he was run out by Rabada on the non-striker's end. So just finishing for them on 244. Probably a highlight for you for a change. Gerald Coetzee was not flying at 9 runs and over today.
Wow.
He does pick up 4 for 44 runs in his 10 overs as well.
Well, so we are in the last few overs. We almost done. In the last few overs, the Afghan team already pushed the pedal and got some brisk scoring done. Well, that's all we had time for. I thank Mr. David Brooks, Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, and Tasneem Granger for talking to us on NewsX. Thank you very much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.